I thought Professor Adeshina and Professor Hassan perhaps could be my support at this time. I want to start by really extending my gratitude to the Chair, Council, Professor Peters, but also all of you who are here, and the student staff and alumni or alumni of the university that you represent. When Ali Baba was speaking, I thought, oh, okay, that was quite nice. Humor is very important, especially in the work that we do. It's only the crazy who apply to be vice chancellors in a volatile university system with nominal funding, but with a lot of creativity that we have to harness, but collectively co-construct with managers, leaders, academics, even our students as partners in that system. So thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. I was actually thinking one. So the school has a board that says walk slowly, and the students are late. Ali Baba, you have to listen to this one. the students are late to school because there's a board outside the school that has been written walk slowly. So the principal asked the students, why are you late? So the students say, the board says walk slowly, so I walk slowly. I got that from primary school kids. I wanted to start by saying I truly appreciate the initiative by Professor Peters because it grew out of our efforts to ensure that the African Association of Open Distance Universities is not just talking to itself, but shape the future that higher education in the countries that we represent, but also in the continent, becomes competitive and is not dependent on ICDE or others for the construction of ideas and management interventions that we have to put, especially in the aftermath of COVID-19. So thank you very much. I'm also appreciative that your predecessors, Professor Peters, were also quite good in imagining this university in the context of Nigeria and expanding access, and I would appeal to strengthening success in order that the ODL system or universities still have their value, their credibility, but also their competitive edge. So I do support, and I know that my colleagues in the university is already looking towards collaboration with the National Open University. We don't want an MOU, as my colleague Professor Paswana would say, that is just signed and then put into some shell. We would like an active MOU that would enable us to rally together on some critical questions on African development, on humanizing pedagogies and epistemologies, on knowledge that is translated into products, processes, and systems that change society. And therefore, I suggest as we think about this partnership, we also think around how it will revolutionize our economies, our ecological systems, our vantage point with the biotic and mineral resources that we have in our country. I cried because when I was young and read a lot of literature from Nigeria, learned about palm oil, and I'm angry that Indonesia and Malaysia took the seeds from Nigeria and they're now providing the global arena with palm oil. We are the most productive environment for palm oil a seed they took from Nigeria. I'm also angry that the diamonds and minerals of South Africa have not been reinvested into the educational system. And I think it is very important for those of us who do advisory to the public and private sector to ensure that they take seriously the reinvestments in our countries and in our universities. And even our partnership, therefore, must influence the African Union and all associated multilateral institutions. Professor Peters. The second aspect that I think is quite urgent, if not, I don't know, how do we create strong management structures, management architectures and infrastructures for open distance education in our countries, but also in the world, that are led by UNISA and now for the benefit of the continent, understanding that our societies need education in order to be competitive. This is an area that I think we need to invest in because progressive and agile and efficient, even though I don't want to use such language at this point, but very impactful, engaged management systems and architectures are required for large institutions, for large impact and for global impact. And therefore the active linkages that were being talked about, that you raised, Professor Francis, are quite important. The fourth aspect that I think we have not really optimized, which is a major asset for Africa, is our creative arts and systems, but also our languages, as we've been speaking. Perhaps we should have been speaking in an African language today. Perhaps the metaphors, the songs, the alliterations, the reach to our hearts as they sing with our heads would have been more profound. How do we optimize our languages? Understanding that the large multinational companies are already optimizing our languages for business. How do we do that for innovation and for the successes of our universities? I think we really need to think about this, even if it's not just to compete with these large institutions, but to humanize the endogenous knowledge systems that are available within our society. The other matters that I think are quite important, and I want to thank the Chair for taking us to the National University Council or Commission for Nigeria. Matters of accreditation are quite contested arena in our country. And I think accreditation systems for South Africa and Nigeria, we need to find a way that CHE, our Council for Higher Education, and the National University Council engage each other so that the realization of the partnership becomes even more impactful and more meaningful. And therefore, our partnership, Professor Peters, will also require that we hold hands with our university commissions in order that they support the work that we do. If we do so, then the quality of the exchanges for students, for staff, for academics, and for researchers will be more meaningful. I cannot finish this, at least some insights about partnership without making an appeal for the development of strong cohort supervision for master's and doctoral candidates in the natural sciences, humanities, but also the convergent interface through multidisciplinarity. Our continent's aspiration in Agenda 2063 sets out the imperatives for us to strengthen economic participation, in the blue economy, in automotive industries, in aeronautics and aviation, and multiple competitive aspects of our societies. I think Nigeria and South Africa can attain this, and I think now NCDSA can anchor the opportunities for research and innovation in these areas. All we require is the support of our councils and our national architectures of knowledge and innovation. Finally, Chair, you're already sitting in the board of Times Higher Education. I suggest a challenge. My challenge and my request is, why can we not, as now and UNISA, think about developing a form of rankings in the knowledge on ODL matters, but also on the impact of higher education and innovation in developmental states or developing states or societies. Perhaps that's also, we can learn from the chair and the resources of those rankings, but I think it's about time that there are rankings by African institutions, lest we are always exposing ourselves to being evaluated by the North or the East without resourcing ourselves and defining who we are. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My delegation, the people at home have been following the convocation, Professor. You'll see that they are also on social media tweeting as though they are here because they really value the opportunity you have made possible for all of us from the University of South Africa. We bring you our gratitude. We are very grateful. And yes, Prof, they call me Smiling Rebel. Thank you.